All right, guys, thank you for joining me again. Third interview of the day. I have St. Rose coach Zack Savacool. Thank you for joining me, Coach.
Thanks for having me, Nick.
Before we get into the St. Rose team, I just want to talk like soccer background. When did you start coaching soccer, and what made you get into coaching?
I think the first time I did for community service for high school my senior year, we were able to volunteer to coach rec soccer teams. And I think that's the first time that I ever really coached before. And then I remember in college when I came home a couple summers, I did a little bit of work for SST doing their it's like what is it called? Skills and drills with all the little kids, just getting them involved in the game. And then I remember I did a camp in New York when I was maybe a junior or senior. And then after that, I started working for Mike Turtle at SST. I volunteered at Wall High School while I was student teaching there. And then I worked with one of my former coaches when I was in college, Guy Lockwood, down at Southern Regional as an assistant coach for the boys down there. And then that led to here.
What year did you start at St. Rose?
Like 2017. So this is year number 4.
Just briefly, what accomplishments have you had at St. Rose? Team accomplishments, and
so it's my 4th year. Oh, yeah. This is my 4th year teaching at the school. My 3rd year coaching the girls. So we've been pretty lucky to have some very good players since I started coaching. So I think are you talking about like what we've won in the last 2 years?
Yeah, or even player goals, players' achievements and stuff like that.
So one of the big goals when we started, it was myself, Ryan Critelli, who's now at Manasquan, who was my assistant for the varsity side. The big thing was kind of like a coming together, a unity of the program. Apparently, from what I had heard, there's a little animosity between like some upperclassmen and some lowerclassmen. So the big thing was just to make sure everything was brought together, everyone was on the same page. And I mean, to get to watch the girls like every day, like they act like they're best friends, and I'm pretty sure they hang out all the time after school and stuff. So that was a huge accomplishment for us. We had a lot of fun, and the girls had a lot of fun, which was great. And we did a good amount of winning along the way. We won the division the last 2 years. We got to the sectional final twice. We won it my first year, and we lost it this year against Rutgers Prep. And then we lost the final my first year, which was a huge bummer.
Yeah, I was at the state final 2018 season. Brutally cold out that game.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we'll talk about, leading into last season, you had a great team, a lot of seniors in the starting lineup. You guys, first I want to talk, we'll talk short conference tournament. The seeding was a little odd for me that, Freehold and you guys are 8 and 9, where, I probably would have had you guys like, 4 and 5, both, I thought both the schools. And that game was a great game. Unfortunately, you guys lost. Just talk a little bit about the Freehold Township game in the short conference.
Yeah, that was an awesome game. It's actually one of the only times last year that we kind of changed up our original game plan to play a little bit more conservative. And we were lucky to get a go-ahead goal in the first half. But they were obviously a great team with just as many good players as we had. And it was just back and forth the whole game. Sometimes they were on top, we were on top, bunch of chances. And it's tough as a smaller school because, you have maybe less depth, a lot. So when we were so it went to double overtime, and we had Katie McLaughlin last year, who is supremely talented in the net. So very, very optimistic about our chances going into PKs, but they just ran at us. And I'd say probably as we got into that overtime period, we were definitely tiring out. They just came up, just kept coming at us, and eventually got a goal.
Yeah, your team, you guys battled a lot of injuries throughout last season, so you did not have the depth, and it kind of showed, towards the end of that game. I don't know how many subs you ran, like 2 or 3 that game. I don't think you ran a very deep bench, but like you said, it was a great game to be at. I know I'm a St. Rose alumni, and I always root for them but just as a soccer fan, it was just fun to be at. And the other game I want to talk about, the Rutgers Prep game. Now, another phenomenal game. You guys, just got on the short game. Just talk a little bit about that Rutgers Prep.
Yeah. So we played them both times in states the last 2 years, and they're both incredibly competitive games. So 2 years ago, we won 1-0 in the last 5 minutes, last 10 minutes. And then last year we lost 1-0 in the last 5-10 minutes. But they were another team that was incredibly good. So they had a bunch of really good players up front. I thought their front three did a really good job holding on to the ball. And then they had that new freshman who was all over the news, whose name escapes me, who definitely lived up to the hype. She was very good. But the girls that we had in the back, I thought they probably played their best game all season to keep them out for as long as they did. So that was definitely we probably played our best game of the season in terms of our intensity, matching them. And that's just the way it goes. Sometimes two good teams, one team's got to lose. So
yeah, your team that you had scoring opportunity. It was a very, very evenly played game. Probably one of the most even, possession wise, scoring opportunity wise, even games.
So in the beginning, we talked a lot about. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name. The freshman who was playing through the middle, because she was kind of the linchpin of what they were doing. Originally, in the first 10 minutes, I thought they were really on top of us in terms of chances. I had divided up the responsibility between Jilly and Caro to switch off between her. And then once we made it one person's responsibility rather than a communication thing between trading it off, then the game became a lot more even, which was nice. But I do remember, I think we hit the post. I think they did too. It's just a really, really intense game. And it's so funny because I watch, when I'm watching other games, it's nice and fun. And I can't even enjoy watching the games that I'm coaching because I'm so nervous all the time.
Yeah, that was it was a very exciting game. I'm trying to get the Melina. Melina was the girl's name, right? On Rutgers Prep? I think that was the freshman. Yeah, it had to be Melina. She had 27 goals. It had to be Melina Remberis or something like that.
Yeah, I remember her last name.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. I saw the emotion of your team, after that game. The seniors were visibly upset, which is one reason I love high school sports, because they're so passionate. Talk about, almost every senior had a role on this team. And just go through the scene. You touched on Catherine, how solid she was in goal. And, you mentioned to me at the end of, during the off season, that she's going to be the tough one to replace.
So at the end of the Rutgers Prep game, actually, you mentioned that every single senior on our team was on the field at the time, which is just, because they're really good.
Yeah.
So we had our captains, Jules and Katie Clayton and Jilly, who were obviously amazing, all for different qualities. Jules is an amazing goal scorer, great at motivating everyone. Katie Clayton's going to outwork every single person on the field. Jill has one of the best attitudes, and she's just a great player as well, which is really tough to replace. It's a shame. And I've kept in touch with a couple of them, and it seems like everyone's doing great over the summer, just checking in to make sure that everyone's still fine. I know Jules' season got canceled at Rutgers. That's a huge bummer.
Yeah, I spoke to
Oh
her.
well.
They're upset, but hopefully they
Yeah,
can.
we were talking about trying to like take a trip up to one of her preseason games as a team, but obviously that didn't really come to fruition.
Yeah, I said if they play in the spring, that's good for me because none of the spring sports I like, so I could catch a lot of
Mhm.
games. You brought up Jill, because Jules gets all most of the accolades because I mean she did lead all-time leading scorer at St. Rose, right?
Right, right, for good reason.
Yeah, yeah, but Jill, when you needed a goal, she also would step up, and she not always get the accolades, but she's I think in state she had a big goal in one of the earlier rounds, right? Or it might have been short conference. I don't remember.
Yeah. She either had in the first round of states, she either had the tying goal or the go-ahead goal
Mhm.
at the end.
I
I
want.
can't remember,
I wasn't at the game.
but it was
Was it Holy
super.
Cross that you guys tied it in like the last minute in states?
Holy Cross was the game at Capelli,
Yes, yes. Yeah, I
and
wasn't at
yes,
the game.
we went down. We went down 2-0,
Yeah.
and then Jules tied it with like no time on the clock, and then we scored in overtime.
Funny story. I was at Freehold Township versus Monroe because I think I even messaged you that um, I think you guys are gonna win 6-0. I was gonna go to a different game, and then I was following Len on Twitter, and I see 1-0, and I'm like, oh, I picked the wrong game to go to because and then 2-0, and the couple of the Freehold parents that I got to know, they're laughing because I'm pacing back and forth waiting for the updates, and then I couldn't believe it. It was and Len posted like 8 seconds left. Jules tied it. I was like, oh my god! I go, imagine being at the game. As the parents. Being on the field. Your reaction as a coach.
Right. So, so part of that I think was down to me. I definitely made a mistake at the beginning of the game. So Holy Cross had scored a number of goals all season. I don't know what the thing is. I was looking at the stats. It's like 40, 50 goals, something like that. And they had one girl as well who uh, took part in like maybe all but 5 or 10 of their goals. And we knew she played striker. I talked to the Trinity Hall coach beforehand,
Mm-hmm.
who they had just played. So I changed Jill from where she was usually playing as a two-way center mid to a center back to try and take the girl out of the game. But that caused us to lose the midfield battle a little bit more than I would have liked.
Uh-huh.
So we switched back. It's like just overthinking it.
Yeah. Going into this season, you're replacing a lot of seniors. Who are some players you think are going to take over the leadership role? Jules, leader on the field. To me, Catherine was a very vocal leader. In that. Who are some of the girls you think are going to step into those roles?
Well, the last 2 years we've had 3 captains. Sometimes their captainships awarded throughout the season, as will probably be the case this year, as the leaders reveal themselves. Right now, Jenna DeFazio is our team captain, so she's been with us the whole way, last 3 years. So she's got a load of experience. I've had her in class before, so we have a good relationship. She's a great relationship with all the girls. So she's a perfect choice for right now. And then we'll see if we need to add more as we move on. We have a lot of new players this year. So we have 11 incoming freshmen.
Oh, that's a big
which
class.
is which is the largest incoming class that I've had so far, which is great. So last year we had 8. This year we have 11. So you'd think that losing 9 seniors last year, we'd have like a really small program, which I was super worried about. But we actually got bigger, which is awesome.
Who are some players right now, like under the radar? I know you guys, basically just doing touches. You're not really getting competitive. You can't do competitive, scrimmages yet. But who are some players that look good under the radar that might fly under the radar?
So in terms of new players who have just come in, there's a transfer from Barnegat, Sophia. She looks like she has some talent. A freshman, Bella Tomasini. another freshman, Kylie. They
They'll
look
look
like
good.
they'll be able. Yeah, they look like they'll be able to hopefully step right into the lineup and begin contributing right away.
Um, Now, last year you had two freshmen that Jules was the main scorer, but you had two freshmen, Maggie and who was the other one?
Adriana.
Yes. How are they looking right now?
Oh, they look good as well.
Mhm.
I mean, Maggie's a incredible athlete
Yeah,
between basketball and soccer. A lot of determination. So she's still the same person, except now she's a year older, a year bigger. So she's going to do a great job. Same thing with Dre. Like she's like soccer mad. She plays all the time. So she's always improving. So I'm really looking forward to getting them on the field together.
I love Maggie's attitude on the field too.
Yeah,
How many times the ref, when the other team would have a free kick, the ref would have to yell at her that she had to move. She would
hang
just
on.
stand there.
I can share my screen with this, right? I want to show you something.
Yeah.
I was I was looking over. Oh, I can't share my screen. It says you disabled it. I was looking through a bunch of old photos from the last couple seasons the other day, and I came across this one of Maggie that I posted in our like team Google Classroom. Oh yeah, it says I can't share my screen.
Yeah, let me see if I got it. Yeah, I'm new to this, so I'm learning it. I don't want to do that. There you go. You should be able to now.
All right, 1 second. So funny. It's like exactly exactly what you were just talking about.
Did it work?
Yeah, yeah. All right, that should work. All right, so you can see everything I can see?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. Where is it? Perfect, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that was her. Like,
that about sums it up.
yeah, she's such a fierce competitor.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Yeah, it's fun. She's the same way on the basketball court. What freshman when they were playing RBC on the basketball court? What freshman? You got Bryn Farrell, Michaela, you got Abby on the court. Down three, she's calling for the ball to shoot a 3-pointer late in the game. Like what freshman does that? She just she's not afraid, and I love that.
She's got like what 9 siblings, so I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
developed that mentality pretty early.
yeah. I've been asking the coaches, how have you handled the phases that have been rolled out with your team?
Well, it's kind of interesting just because of like over the summers, just and the fall and spring, just working for like SST. So the state for club and private was different than what it was for the high school. So we went through 4 phases starting in June, and then by July, or I can't exactly remember when we moved into phase 4. Basically, I'm just cleaning my gear, wearing a mask, and then the kids are full contact and stuff. And about half the kids play club, so they've been like that for a while. So it was just it was interesting just going back to this non-contact stuff, which is totally fine, and I get it because high school is totally different than club. It's potentially a lot more dangerous in terms of the spreading of like the disease and stuff. But it's definitely it's interesting because in my practices in the past, the only time I really run like full-on fitness and technical sessions is when they've really annoyed me. So it's kind of like a punishment. Usually it's all small-sided competitive games and stuff like that. So it was different to just go and change it up and see what the girls were up to in terms of fitness and technical work.
It's funny when I had Coach Caruso on from Brook Memorial. He's like the first Monday. He goes. I don't want to see conditioning or touches. He goes, we're just going full on scrimmage because I'm sure they're tired of hearing me with that and
Right.
and
right.
and the Manchester coach this morning told me he's like, we need to see what we have, because we got to start, make decisions, the roster and stuff.
Exactly. It's totally different.
Yeah.
Once you see what they do with their competition, if there's no pressure on the ball, it's just kicking. It's not passing or shooting.
So, I mean, knock on wood, it looks like the state, the way the numbers are, the state has handled it, pretty good. And, the fact that, we're going back to school and, that we're going to have sports is a good sign. Before we start wrapping up, what are some goals you have set, you think you're going to set, for this upcoming season?
Well, we always have a goal to perform to the best of our ability, obviously. I have an idea for how good we can be. And, as long as we're playing up to our potential, that's totally fine. We can lose games, we can tie games, things happen. It's soccer. But, you got to play the way you want to play and bring in the same amount of intensity to every single game. So we have a checklist of goals we want to accomplish. Some of them are already out because they don't exist this season, which is a shame. But, we always want to challenge for the division every single year. We want to get back to our state final again. And we're thinking of new ways to win because it's a new cast this year, new players. So whole new deal in terms of how we're going to go about winning games this year, which is a fun challenge to look forward to. So figuring that out, getting all the girls on board and having some fun, definitely look forward to it.
How do you think with the schedule, one of the coaches said, playing a team back to back, he said the hard part's going to be, he said he don't think the hard part's going to be if it's a close game, making adjustments. It's going to be the hard part, say your team blows a team out or they blow you out, is getting the team motivated for right back, 2 days later.
Right. Yeah, that's a pretty tough ask. And I mean, even with the close games, like you just squeak by a team, now they're going to come out, maybe do something different. You have to anticipate that. And with these, in terms of making sure everyone does their best every single game, sure, I think it will be a challenge if there's lopsided games like that.
Yeah. Now your division, I think I saw APP put Point Beach and St. Rose as one of the matchups to go watch. So I don't know. I got to look at Point Beach's roster, but you got Point Beach, Trinity Hall, right? They always give your team a good game. So
right.
You got a couple good teams in that division.
Yeah, Trinity Hall should be even better than they were last year as well.
Yeah, I think so too. So, all right, Coach, I appreciate you joining me.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nick.
And I look forward, seeing you on the field.
Yeah, can't wait to get at it on Monday.
Yeah, and I'll see. Yeah, I'll definitely be at probably the Point Beach game, Trinity Hall game. I'll be at the home ones. So.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, Coach.
All right, man. You have a good day.